Hi, this is part 2 of the Disconnect series, and today we're going to talk about our disconnect from our food and our eating habits. I have a health and nutrition background, and I've been in the health and wellness space for a long time now, and the biggest thing that I've learned is this disconnect that we have between the choices we're making and the things that are in front of us. Oftentimes these decisions are made from a place of fear and a place of lack. And when we are in these states, we end up making decisions that we either regret later on or we have to correct down the road. And so the way to fill that gap, that disconnect between us and our food, is there's a few tips I'm going to give you here. So one of the ways that people can establish healthier routines, especially with eating, is really tuning into their body when it wants to eat. And typically, a lot of the signals that are being sent is for hydration. Believe it or not, we will get a sensation of being hungry when really our body is thirsty. And so if we drink a full glass of water first, and then we are still hungry, then yes, that is a food need. But oftentimes our body is asking for water, not food, when we're feeling hungry, okay? And this is just a simple way that you can get into a space of connecting back into yourself. If you get the sensation, oh, I'm so hungry, it's possible that really what you need first is water because you're dehydrated. Now, another false myth is that, oh, I'll just drink a glass of water and I'm good. Well, you need something to help open up the cell wall to bring in that hydration. So it's really good to drop in some sea salt. Pink sea salt is actually better, or pink Himalayan salt is another thing. Some people use drops or other things to add to their water. But what you need to do is not just drinking water all day, but making sure it's good quality water and making sure that it doesn't necessarily have to be bottled, because not all bottled water is good for you either. But if you are wanting to get proper hydration, you need to make sure that those cell walls open up to absorb the hydration that you're trying to give your body. Because oftentimes what can happen is you could be drinking water all day and be taxing your organs because it's having to process all this water all day long, but it's also having to process what's in the water. So if the water isn't a clean source, it's having to clean the water, filter the water first in your organs, and then you're secreting it. So making sure you have proper hydration. Now, another thing that you can do is when you're eating, really try to taste each of the things in your food. I think oftentimes we sit down and we're shoveling it in, or we're mindlessly eating as we're watching something. You're disconnected from the experience of food in and of itself. And so a lot of us don't know the actual smell of a real tomato or the actual texture of a blueberry. Or do you see what I'm saying? So there's certain things that we're missing because we're not actually engaging in the process intentionally of connecting with the food we're actually eating. And so slowing it down, taking a bite with your fork or your spoon and setting it down, moving it around on your tongue, on your taste buds, and feeling the texture, feeling the sensation. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is there some part of it that stands out to you? Do you notice the spices? Do you notice the flavoring? And really taking your time with it will connect you back to the food experience. Now, another way you can do this is to transfer into intuitive eating, knowing not just because it's a certain time of day I have to eat, but knowing my body is asking for a certain type of food right now. I notice there are certain times in my life when I want to add more salt to my food. That is a huge indicator that I have an iron deficiency. My body is asking for more salt because I'm missing iron in my daily food. And so when I'm asking for more iron, it's typically right before my cycle starts. Well, that makes sense because my body knows my cycle is about to start. I'm about to lose a lot of blood and it needs to reestablish those iron levels. And because I've gotten in tune with my body, I'm connected back in with my body. I know when it's asking for more salt, I know my cycle's about to start. It's a weird side effect, but it becomes one of those intuitive things that you can build over time if you're really tuning into your body and there's no longer a disconnect. I understand that there are certain circumstances where it's just not possible to slow down, or it's just not possible to get the perfect water, or it's not about everything being perfect. It's about reconnecting to the process of the food that we're putting in our bodies. I'm not saying go off and do all the research on the chemicals and the sprays and all that. You can do that on your own. There are other channels you can go looking for that information. I'm simply talking about reconnecting yourself to the process of food, because the food is going to be what heals your body. So when you are sick, even just the common cold or flu, your body is asking for help. Your body knows how to heal itself. It has every system in place to self-correct. But if it is needing support because it's overwhelmed in a certain area, or a certain organ doesn't have everything it needs to operate at its full capacity, like, sending a plumber onto a job without his full toolbox to be able to adjust the pipes, the plumber's asking for that toolbox. So your organs are asking for those materials, those nutrients, that you can provide it so that it can get healthy on its own. And so it's about tuning into those scenarios of, what is my body trying to tell me? What is it needing right now? Is it needing this sugar that's actually going to slow down the process? It might give my brain a boost temporarily, but that will quickly dissipate, and then we'll want more sugar to reenact that activity in the brain. But the body itself is saying, I don't want this. I have to now process this sugar and get it out of my body. And if it can't quite get out where it needs to go, it'll go into the stored fats, and it just goes into the wrong places. And it doesn't actually leave the body, and it can actually slow down the system. And so it's about choosing foods and choosing things to keep the system running. Right? We understand the idea that a car runs on an engine and it needs a certain type of gas. If you give it the wrong gas, now you've ruined the engine. Why did you ruin the engine? Because you gave it the wrong fuel. Your body works in that same way. So you need to reconnect yourself to your body through food and through hydration. Right? We know that if we have too much coffee or too much soda and not enough water, our body becomes discombobulated. It's all over the place. And so it's about reconnecting yourself to the experience of food. So simple things you can do today is adding just a little bit of salt to your water and mix it in. Allow those cell walls to open up. One habit, change one little thing. When you're eating, take a bite, set the fork down. Not shovel till it's done. Right? Taking your time with the food that you spent all that time cooking, or you spent money energy to go purchase. Enjoy the experience of the food itself. Now, one last thing I'm going to say, and again, do your own research. There's plenty of YouTube videos on how to do this. But when you are in the grocery store, go a little slower. When you pick up bananas, look at the sticker and find out where it's from. Maybe do an activity with your family if you have kids or family members that you go grocery shopping with. Pull the stickers off and map where those foods came from. My banana came from Colombia. My avocado came from Mexico. My beef came from a local farm down the street. Take the stickers off and start to become aware of where those products are coming from. Because if we're not aware of where we're getting our food, we are really disconnected from the food experience that is in our body. So we're willing to put it in our body, but we have no idea where it came from? That seems a little disconnected, don't you think? I'm not saying you need to go to a farmer's market and spend all of your money on all this fancy food from everybody but local. Does it make more sense to support local? Yeah, absolutely. That's how systems used to work. We used to live in communities where we knew the farmer, we knew the butcher, we knew the vegetable owner. And we traded our services or our goods in exchange for those things. But we've become so disconnected from that process that we don't know where this stuff comes from, but we're willing to put it in our bodies anyway. And that can be a really dangerous disconnect. So the next time you're at the grocery store, getting the foods for you and your family, look at where it's coming from. Start reconnecting yourself back into the systems you've disconnected from and just relied on for so long, so that these systems don't become a fragile thing that if they are taken from you, you don't know where to go, where to turn, who to look to. Okay? I hope this is helpful. I know it seems a little bit off the wall, but understanding that food is a major role in how we connect to ourselves, we can do a better job at participating on a big level, but also on an individual level of our role in our own lives. Okay? I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.